How many stories that you have come up with, you pitched, have landed on the front page?
I mean, most everyone.
Of course, this is what happens when we have a journalist on the podcast.
Yeah,
He starts turning on
asking us questions.
I've also ridden some helicopters, taken some Black Hawk flights.
That's scary.
I've never been a hot air balloon. I would love to. He's finally got to quit.
Exactly. We're finally done. Evert Nelson with the Topeka Capital Journal, the chief photojournalist. Thanks for being here, man.
It's a pleasure. I really appreciate you guys having me out here.
Dude.
Yeah, I've been following you a little while on social media and seeing like all the stuff you're posting. I'm like, this guy sees everything, man.
I do see a lot. I've seen a lot, and I continue to see a lot.
Yeah. I think even when we had the Washburn guys, I was thinking about, because we had you scheduled when we were filming with the Washburn guys. I remember seeing you running around the stadium a few times, on the court, like taking photos for the tournament games and stuff.
He's got one of them passes. It's like, I can go wherever I want.
Yeah.
It's a perk of the job, I guess. It's part of the job, honestly.
So chief photojournalist, what does that mean? What do you do?
Well, I mean, my primary responsibility is to get good art for almost all of our news and sports stories that we produce out of our local newsroom here in Topeka. So, you know, that is tagging along with reporters. Sometimes I'm doing my own stories and kind of producing content on that. But yeah, the primary focus is to get just good art to go along with our stories and kind of bring those to life.
Is that just the Topeka sports and art that you're capturing, or is it how far does the journal go out?
So, well, we definitely cover Kansas and Kansas State as well. As far as like, we have a reporter in both of those beats. So I do go to some KU games, some K-State games, football, baseball, soccer, basketball, all of that. I really have kind of restricted back because it's only me. So
it's a lot to cover.
It's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So like the sports side, a lot of prep sports as well. That's high school sports. We have a prep reporter here. So trying to keep it more, Topeka based, but also we do have that coverage area of Lawrence and Manhattan.
Wow. So how much of your stories that you're on are assigned to you versus your own stories that you're coming up with?
I mean, probably 85% is assigned, and then like that other 15 is like me going out and finding my own stories. Like, and again, viewers will see all the content I brought on here.
Yeah,
a lot of it's kind of a mix.
This one is this the most recent one?
So that's probably the most recent one that I produced. Yeah. So this is the last Easter centerpiece on 420 over this chainsaw artist couple. Actually, it's Vicky and Pat Langton, who carved a giant tulip over at Ward Mead Park. And it's a kind of a cool story. Like, again, I was just having lunch with my wife out there. I saw this couple out working on this huge stump. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I've always been interested in like how you do chainsaw artwork, and got to talk to them. They've actually created a lot of the chainsaw art that you see around Topeka. Like, the giant Chief Tecumseh at Tecumseh Park, and then all of those pieces around there. If you play golf at Lake Shawnee, you see the 1920 style golfers by the putting green. Bald eagle off of hole 12 as well.
Cool.
The bears at Topeka Zoo. On and on. It's all in the article.
How difficult is it to get something on the front page?
Well, I mean, that is my job. Like, legitimately, every single day, it's to try to have good art on the front page.
Right.
So like when I see a story like this, I know it has good art potential. I'll pitch that to be like the Sunday centerpiece, and that's kind of always been like the Sunday centerpiece, like the Sunday editions, like the big paper. That's the good one that everybody always you work up to.
But so 15% of your job is coming up with your own content. How many stories that you have come up with, you pitched, have landed on the front page?
I mean, most everyone that I produce.
That seems like a big deal, right? I mean, you're not just taking
There's
photos.
a reason he's on the pod. He knows his stuff, man.
I mean, it's legit.
We don't just have anybody on this podcast.
I appreciate you guys. It's something that's, our newsroom is really great, and that they have that ability, and we have that ability to like, hey, this is a really good story. It needs to have that play out there, and so yeah, it's
okay. Wait, but here's what I'm asking you. Maybe I'm asking you to brag about yourself too much, which is totally cool. You can like shut it down, like, hey, I'm humble. It's fine. I get it. But like, you kind of what I heard you say is basically like you're batting 1,000 on like front page articles that you're writing. Like, how many other reporters? Like, what's their percentage on articles landing on the front page? You know?
Well, I mean, for the daily stories, it's for the most part, it's got to be somebody else's story with my photos attached to it. And usually that's kind of how it goes.
Right.
When I decide to produce my own story and do the photos and all that, it's guaranteed to be on the print page as well. Like that just kind of comes with the job.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it goes.
All right.
Okay.
Again, like the newsroom operation, I can't go into like a lot of details on all that. Like you can talk to our corporate
Who has
people,
the lowest percentage of front page articles in the newsroom?
I don't know.
What's their at?
Question. So when you say like, hey, this is going to be a good article, you guys get excited about it. I think the same thing, like with when we're putting out social media clips or when you have a guest on, like, hey, this is going to be a good one. People are going to love it. We get some feedback on, hey, this had lots of shares or this had lots of views. How do you guys get feedback? Like, how do you know like that was a good article?
Oh, I mean, there's definitely analytics that you look at.
Really, even like print paper stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, what are those?
Again, I can't go into a lot of those details just because I don't know them off the top of my head.
You're just a photo guy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's
pictures.
I try to focus on like that's the job at hand is to just make good art, good photos and videos to go along with the articles. I hope that I'm doing a good job and they get great play. We know that like some photo galleries that I've done have done really well. Others just. It's just like
online where you can track that a little more.
Well, you're good at your job. I mean, you've been featured in some of these big time magazines, like what is it, Times you were showing us? What are some of the big names you've been on?
I mean, I'll kind of go back in time a little bit because I've been with the Capital Journal for it's got to be 6 years in October. Before that, I was freelancing. Topeka kid, we can kind of rewind a little back.
Man.
Who was that?
We'll go all the way back because the kind of wild card that I say I was born in Costa Rica, but I actually was raised here in Topeka, Tecumseh, actually. Yeah. So my mom's Tika, my dad's American.
Wow.
And the fact that I'm here to begin with is kind of a interesting story in
is
itself.
Is Tika the like local indigenous
that's
people?
Costa Rican.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of my origin. And then, I went to Shawnee Heights, graduated in 2010. Exactly. I was on the golf team during that, but like the whole aspect of like being a photojournalist and being a photographer is something I've always kind of had in my back of my mind. It kind of starts with my uncle, Andy Nelson, who when I was growing up, I saw him. He was working for the Christian Science Monitor at the time out of the Washington, D.C. Bureau. So like, I was also raised a lot by my grandparents, and they're very big in the news. So we always had news on. Always had the Capital Journal delivered to our front door every day. So I was very accustomed to seeing this surrounded. So Andy was a working photojournalist in my family, and so I kind of saw that as an actual viable career path.
Wow.
So kind of just like following his footsteps, learned a lot from him. When I was in high school, this is 2008, he actually took me up to Iowa, to the Iowa caucuses, and I got to see Barack Obama give one of his speeches in an elementary school. So I've kind of always been this like, this is just where I'm heading and what I want to do, and somehow it just kind of worked out in this way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. So you graduate from high school.
Yeah.
And you knew kind of at that point, okay, I want to do photojournalism?
I knew probably from like fourth grade.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, it goes way back because there was definitely a point in time that I remember seeing like what Andy was doing and what just other photojournalists were doing and just seeing the news all the time. Like, this is just cool. Like you're able to like make art and do take photos and like make that actually a living.
Right.
So yeah. Throughout high school, I did a whole bunch of just photography. I got into like the film photography as well. At that time, like we had a film lab at Shawnee Heights, which was kind of a rarity. And I think we were like the last class that had that. So one of these photos, and I'm going to reach.
Yeah, you're good.
So this is kind of just a fun, this is of New York when I went on an orchestra trip, and it's a darkroom photo that I kind of just did some like manipulations with the developing, but it's just kind of like a random thing what I was doing when I was a teenager, kind of just experimenting.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, from there, I spent 1 year at Washburn before I went up to K-State and got my degree in print journalism, mass communications. And then kind of throughout that whole career, like that time at college, I had an internship at Salina Journal and then Clarkson Creative in Denver, and that's where all the Rockies stuff comes into play. So like all along my life, I've been taking pictures, and that's kind of always been my ethos is like if I'm taking pictures, I'm happy. This is what I want to do.
So what are some of the I mean, when you're a photographer, you get one of them passes and you get to go to all these cool events.
Right.
What are some of the coolest or maybe high profile games or events? What's some of the coolest things you've been to?
Yeah. Well, definitely some of the things that I brought along here. We can go. So some of these collegiate, this is the school newspaper.
At K-State.
Like at K-State, exactly. One of the kind of more interesting things is just like what happens on Anderson Lawn. It's just like kind of seeing these things happen. Not really as far as like having a press pass to be able to do that, but I just think it's cool to find those opportunities. This is from 2011 of one of the K-States versus, who are they playing here? George Washington. So not really like a bigger team, but it's, sport photos early on.
Wow.
So from there, when I was at Clarkson Creative, that's Rich Clarkson, has a rich history in Topeka as their director of photography for the Capital Journal back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, wow.
Developed this into like a world-class just like workshop, or I guess just training ground for photojournalists specifically. So I got the opportunity to intern for him. At that time, they were still the Rockies official photographers. So like these Rockies magazines I have on here, I got to be their like official photographer for 2 seasons, that 2013 and 2014 season.
Oh,
so
that's
like
cool.
Taking pictures at every single game, the fireworks photos, they put me up in the actual like the Rockies logo. Like I don't know if you've been to Coors Field or like seen it, but like that big Rockies screen, they've now modified it since this. But yeah, I was actually put up there during the fireworks display to get some unique shots and then back on the ground.
How do you get up there? Is there like an elevator, or do they have a lift crane thing?
No, it's literally ladders. I mean, it's just like from like concession stands. So that's actually shot like inside of the scoreboard, which is pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of a more unique one.
Yeah.
Did that feel like I've made it as a photographer? Like this is I'm in the NBA of photography right now, or the MLB, if you will.
It seemed like it, for sure. I mean, it's kind of crazy, like to be given those opportunities, like really early on in my photojournalism career, you could say. Like again, it starts like in high school, and even like having Andy take me up to Iowa and kind of like get right into the job itself. Like even in college, like as soon as you start working for a paper and doing this, like you're a professional. You're making money doing it.
Right.
This is what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. So within the whole Clarkson era too, they started putting me on some of the championships. Again, NCAA photos. Huge shout out to them because they do all the production for all the championship and tournament games for the NCAA. So from I think it's 2014 through 2022. About that, I was shooting the women's Final Four games for them.
Wow, that's cool.
That's awesome.
I brought along some of those publications, like the Sports Illustrated and Time. Yep. So that Time magazine piece from 2018 is Arike Ogunbowale, who's the Notre Dame.
Nailed it.
Yeah, she got the game-winning shot, and I got that photo.
Wow.
That appeared as a double track in Time magazine. And
is this like the equivalent of Mario's Miracle? And
yeah, pretty much. And that's
also 2008 or whatever it was.
Also, that's very yeah.
So do they, as a freelancer, when you take these pictures and they want to use them, are they paying you for these photos?
I mean,
and it's like,
and again, like back onto the freelance side of things, like you get paid for the most part per assignment. Like where the photos go is kind of up in the air because you're usually working for a wire service. This is NCAA photos via Getty Images. So we're sending photos to Getty Images. Those photos get shared out to whoever.
Gotcha. So when your photo gets featured in a big magazine, it's just more of a pride thing. It's like, hey, my photo was so good. This big company is going to use it. It's not like a financial.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's still awesome.
Yeah. It's still incredible. I mean, and again, right now, like we are the Topeka Capital Journal is part of Gannett's and USA Today network. So like on occasion, I'll have some of my photos appear on USA Today.
Wow.
And again, that's something that I also brought along. From this, the snowstorm on January 7th, I thought it was kind of an interesting one to share just because like I got this photo, and our deadlines are pretty quick in the morning. So like I have to kind of turn around. So like I got this photo of, this is Tim Harris over by Lake Shawnee shoveling himself out.
I remember when you posted that, seeing that, because that was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that was only a few months ago. It was crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So I took that photo, and then at the same time, USA Today's kind of put a alert out to like photographers within the network. Like, hey, this record snowstorm came. So they used the same photo, a little crop on it. but also put that on USA Today. So it's kind of wild to see like the same picture from our local news make it to national news.
That's awesome.
That's like it is still very cool.
Is that stuff like, do you frame stuff like that? Like,
I need a frame. I need to do a better job, honestly, of framing some of that work. I got like another one of the Time magazines framed. I have just boxes and boxes of newspapers, honestly, and like just like this sort of stuff. So I just picked some random things to show you guys today.
I know. I feel like some of this stuff needs to get framed and put up in your office. I mean, that's so cool. These national magazines.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting to say that I have these items that I've done it. But again, it's just I see it as part of the job. Our photos should be shared, and that's kind of why you do it.
Yeah, that reminds me of Brogan and my wife and I, when we got married, we had the idea like, oh, it'd be cool to have like the front page newspaper of the city on the day we got married. So we had the idea after. So we went to like the archives. We got married in Lawrence. And so we went to the paper archives. And we paid, it was like, so we paid, it was like 88 cents or something. Like it was something, but we had to go there in person and they gave us like the whole paper. We just wanted the front page. We're like, oh, we're going to frame it. It's going to be so cool. And it turned out the front page article was like, someone got murdered. And we're like, I don't think we're going to frame this one. So it just, I don't even know if we still have it, but it was like
88 cents down the toilet.
Yeah. Maybe he had like the announcement in there. You could clip yourself out of that.
Exactly.
Okay. So you've been all over all sorts of different events. What's something you haven't been at that's on your bucket list as a photographer?
Ooh,
and maybe that's more of a freelance side question if you're ever in the freelance world again, but what's something you haven't been able to go to that you want to?
I mean, I think for most photographers, especially those in like the sports world, Olympics, it'd be amazing to cover an Olympics. And that's something that, I've met photographers who are at that. Like when I go cover Kansas KU Jayhawks basketball games and whatnot, like I'm talking alongside people like the AP photographer, Charlie Waddell, who went to the Olympics last, I don't know how many years. Jamie Squire with Getty, he's also like at these big events. Kentucky Derby, that's also a cool one.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I don't know if I really have like a bucket list of like, I have to go, I want to do this thing, or like, I'm not like a great photographer. I really feel like I just keep on doing the job at hand. When I see a cool opportunity come out, I want to go and like photograph that. But it's not something that like I have to go and do this thing. Olympics would be rad for sure.
Right.
And I'm hoping to work up to that point so I can go to LA for that one. That'd be really cool.
Especially if CJ's fronting the bill. I mean, it's a business expense, baby.
That is awesome. So how do you, like, as a photographer, it seems like you have a unique eye for things. I love even just the way you framed your job. Like, you're not just a photographer, like you create art. And you said, my job is to create good art for, this publication. How do you tell when there seems to be a good opportunity? Like, for instance, on Easter, you said you saw someone making chainsaw art and you're like, man, that would be a great story. Ends up on the front page. Like, how are you seeing these opportunities like that?
I mean, maybe it's just because I've been doing this for a while and I kind of just can piece together like there's some potential there for something. Honestly, though, like, and a lot of the assignments I go and cover aren't the most exciting thing, but it's like, how do you make this interesting? I got a lot of things, someone's speaking at a podium. Okay, but how can you get that shot different than just like face on?
Right.
How can you do things to make it a little bit more interesting than just like the typical photo that you think you're going to see from these events? It's kind of hard to like conceptualize how I think like that, and I think I'm kind of all over the place too.
Right.
Like I taught our reporters how to use cameras and like how to take better pictures. I was talking to one of them who was covering prom this past weekend, how to use flash, and the way I kind of like do it though too. I kind of just go at it. Like I was trained to like, this is how you use camera. This is all the compositional techniques you should know.
Like framing and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, rule of thirds, all the basic things that you learn if you take Photo 101 or whatever in high school and college. But I think the key is just to keep on doing it and just keep on shooting, keep on just looking for interesting shots.
Wow.
Like there's definitely assignments that like I know I'm going to repeat every year, like tulip stories. Just because it's just such a visual thing. It's
right.
really unique to have that here.
Yeah.
What are some of the coolest events, in your opinion, that Topeka has, maybe on a reoccurring basis that hey, every year I'm going to cover Huff and Puff? For every year, I'm going to cover this. What are some of the ones you look forward to?
Huff and Puff's definitely up there.
Okay.
Because we get to do a media flight, and that's always just fun to ride on.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've gotten some pretty cool photos from that, especially like.
Dude, I wonder if they would let a podcast on the media flight.
I mean, hey, you just reach out. I'll give
bring
you
up
some
the
We'll do a
mics.
live podcast from the air.
It might get interrupted by,
Yeah.
every
So
5
like
seconds.
you get to go like all like you're
Yeah,
up.
they take us up, and it's very interesting to be
I
up
bet
there.
that's scary. I've never been on a.
I've never been a hot air balloon. I would
Yeah.
love to.
Yeah, no, it's an experience. It's way more gentle than you think, but then all of a sudden it's like a lot going on when you're landing, like a lot to kind of juggle. But yeah, I've gotten the opportunity to do that. I've also ridden some helicopters, taken some Black Hawk flights, which is
Wow.
rad.
Yeah.
Some antique war planes.
That's something like
But-
you're shooting pictures out of the planes and out of the helicopters.
Like, the National Guard's done some of these flights, like where they'll go to like a local high school, and like some of the JROTC people get to ride on them, or faculty or things like that, and so they'll invite the media along because it's just a cool opportunity to, well, for one, ride in the Black Hawk, but also see reactions of like community, like being able to do this as well.
Yeah.
Huff and Puff, any others?
Huff and Puff, the air show recently has been a really cool one. And,
Okay.
Again, I think that's something that they're going to keep on promoting that to keep it going. But yeah, the air show is very cool to photograph for sure. Lots of parades. The parades always do really well as far as like photo galleries.
Right.
What other kind of just the Topeka events? Tulip Time. Again, that's something that just came around. I'd have to like honestly, the way that I like document everything and like archive it, I could go back like month by month and basically like start to find patterns of like, okay, this event's always going on, or these sort of things always happen at the same time. But yeah, some of those major events are ones that are.
I bet Huff and Puff is super cool.
Do you have any photos or stories that maybe didn't get as much traction as you thought they might, that you're still really, really proud of? Like, man, this was one of the best photos I've ever taken that wasn't on a front page or something.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are, and I think that's something that's I just keep on like moving forward.
Yeah,
like I
okay,
really
yeah.
can't think about like, well, okay, this didn't do well, I'm gonna dwell on it. Like,
Right.
I just kind of like, just what it was. It's
That's
all right.
good
Maybe
for
it'll come
you.
back.
I've spent hours making clips just for them to suck online, and it's like, jeez, I thought this was going to be awesome, and no one else thinks so.
Hey, you just keep at it though, and that's legitimately like how I feel like this industry is. And if you want to, like, that's my advice to younger photographers and videographers and media people in general.
Right.
It's just you just keep on going, and you'll find your style throughout. And again, I don't really even know if I have that much of a style. I just kind of do the thing. Like,
Right.
That's how I describe it. Like, I'm just taking pictures.
That's honestly great advice for a lot of things. Just like finish what you start, put it out there, move on.
Yeah.
Learn what you can learn, but don't dwell, move on, and just keep creating, that's great advice.
It is great advice. And it's funny. My wife, when we started this podcast, she knows I'm notorious for starting things and not finishing them. I'll start something, get really excited about it. And it's like, this is stupid. I'm moving on. And so when we started this, we had to invest some money, some tech, and, some commitment involved. She goes, you're going to do this for a full year. She goes, you're not allowed to quit until you do a full year. After a year, you can quit if you don't want to keep doing it. And I was like, okay, cool. Whatever. Yeah, sounds
it's
good.
Easy, totally.
But it is it's a healthy reminder. It's, it's like, stick to doing something. Anything worth doing, it takes a while to get some traction.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we have traction yet, but we're maybe up to 11 followers now instead of 10s.
I mean, hey,
tens
I think
means
you guys
multiple
gonna,
tens.
Tens means multiple
I hope
tens.
this episode does well.
Yeah,
I really
me too.
hope we can.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
shine
What
the light on
spicy
local
content
journalism.
can you drop on this episode right now?
I mean, I'm just saying, just support local media. Keep on going. I mean, it's something that I think it's really important for a community to be engaged with those that are covering things going on around here. And I'm just happy to be here.
Maybe can we talk about that then? Like, just like you've been in Topeka, you grew up here. What's your sense about where Topeka's at? What are you excited about? What would you like to see continue to develop?
Oh, I mean, and again, I don't want to talk with respect to my company and saying that this is my opinion. I think Topeka's,
Can we put a disclaimer? All
disclaimer
opinions
thing.
are
Evert Nelson opinion.
Yeah,
Not an opinion of the Topeka Capital Journal.
yeah.
there's just a lot going on here. And I feel like you talk to developers and you talk to, those really in these industries, and you kind of get a feel of like, well, these are the things that people are saying that they need, and this is how it can be addressed.
Yeah.
There's just, I think, a lot more things going on than people think as well. And that's why, we exist and the TV stations exist to highlight some of those stories and just kind of keep promoting the good things and even the bad things and anything else that happens around here. It's definitely just the evolving city. And I think knowing what this market really is too, in proximity to Lawrence, Manhattan, Kansas City, we definitely have a niche on certain aspects. To really pinpoint what everything is, I don't know if I'm exactly the guy for that.
Right. Yeah.
I just I embrace it all. Kind of just show off what this town is and everything else. So,
are there things that you're especially excited about that you've seen in the last 5 to 10 years in Topeka?
I mean, I was talking to you guys about like what I do on the side. Mountain biking is really like a passion that's kind of been building.
Oh, that's
for
cool.
me too. So like, I kind of started that before I worked for the paper too, working with some of the trail guys and like kind of seeing what the bike scene's all about, mountain biking specifically. I have gone into roads, no hate on the roadies out there. But there's a lot of trails. Is that what they're called,
roadies?
Yeah, it's a term.
Is that the official lingo?
Yeah.
So a roadie is someone who bikes on the road?
Exactly.
What is a mountain biker called?
Just
a mountie.
A man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mountain biking is just a cool thing. So like the trail systems around here, I think are just ever increasing. I've done, again, a lot of stories on that, and Top City Trail Alliance is kind of an up and coming newer organization that's really taken the front on like making the trails over at Cedar Crest / Caw Valley. To be Caw River State Park, not Cedar Crest.
Sure.
The way that's out there over by the governor's mansion, it's divided on property lines. So it's
okay.
Tons of people. But
I accidentally hiked onto some of those. You're like, bikes only. Like, ooh, how did I get here?
So you found the downhill trails.
Yeah,
I've hiked up the downhill trail on accident because I didn't realize that's what I was on. Yeah.
I can't say I've ever accidentally hiked anywhere. We don't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Hey, but I mean, there really is the trail system out here. I think is something that's very cool, and again, that'd be a cool guest to have on to really talk more about that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you're into mountain biking personally, not just documenting it as well.
Yeah. So shout out to Tyler Brown, my friend back from high school, who we later reconnected when I moved back here from Colorado, and he got into mountain biking at the time. And I met him when I was actually like selling wine when I was freelancing. I've done a lot of random jobs.
Did you say selling wine?
Selling wine. Yeah. I was a wine salesman for a second.
Who's the famous, the social media?
Gary V. Of course. Yeah. I was listening to a lot of Gary V at that time. Yeah,
nice.
For sure,
was it the same brand or is it similar market?
No, it was definitely a smaller, kind of like this one French guy out of Overland Park had some connections, so he made his own. Well, he didn't make his own. He knew all the wineries, so he was like a distributor.
Gotcha.
For them, and I just sold through him his stuff around Topeka, and for a while that was.
Does the Topeka Capital Journal? This is a random question. Do they sell ads? Is that how they make the majority of their money? Because I know you also have to pay. You can pay a subscription. Is that like they do both? Well, clearly, I don't subscribe.
Again, like I'm not the person to talk about like what are subscription models and like ad works, because like I honestly don't really know all that. I can I'd be happy to give you guys the people to talk to on that. But I think we do sell ads, and subscriptions is obviously what we really want. Yeah, I mean honestly though, I think there's a lot of content on there that we do promote that I think like is really good stuff. And again, like for on my side of things, like photo galleries and videos are always free, and that's a lot of the things that I make.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. I know everybody on Facebook world, like they'll try to just take our content, but we really do need to make a living as well over here. And
people like download and repost them themselves without
really
attribution.
For sure. But I mean, again, that's something that's people do what they do online, and
it is punches. Yeah. I have a friend who's a fairly successful wedding photographer, and she's had people like start fake accounts with her photos and try to make money from stuff like that. It's kind of rough.
That's how you know you've made it. One of these days there's going to be a fake Topeka Insider Instagram account.
Exactly.
It's not the real one, but all press is good press.
Exactly.
And then they get more followers than us. We're like, dang it, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I'm curious though on you guys, because like again, we're talking about like we haven't had much of an introduction of you. It's like, when did this podcast start? It's only been it's almost on your year. So for your wife, she's pretty happy.
Coming up on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up on it.
He's finally got to quit.
Exactly. We're finally done.
So Buddy and I, when I moved here, I moved to Topeka 2019, August 2019.
From where?
I was in Lawrence for a year. I was at K-State for like 8 years working with campus ministries at K-State. And then we basically moved here to like plant a church, me and a buddy and some families and stuff. And we were just trying to find a way to just like meet people and connect with people. And so me and my friend started this podcast where we would literally go into coffee shops and convince a stranger to sit down and just talk with us. And so we called it the Look Around Podcast. And so we probably did 5 episodes before COVID shut down. And it was obviously greatly discouraged talking to strangers in coffee shops at that point. So we're kind of like, I think we had like 2 episodes that we hadn't posted yet, and we ended up just kind of not doing it. And then we forgot about it. Then like 2 or 3 years later, we were like, dude, we should revamp that. And we did it where we started doing more like what we're doing now, but we would go to people's businesses and like we interview like David Vincent at Circle Coffee right after he opened and a few places like that. And then we did like a season of episodes. And then my buddy ended up kind of switching jobs. Now he works at AE and had a lot less flexibility time-wise. So it's kind of like, are we going to keep doing this? I don't know. We kind of pushed pause for a while. And then Justin was like, hey man, is he going to keep doing that? Can I take his spot? Can we like switch this around and rebrand it? And so I was like, yeah, man, I'd love to keep doing it. So he kind of came in and was like, hey, let's rebrand this. Let's do this. Like, let's take it to the next level. And so we did. I mean, he had owned the URL for Topeka Insider for 5 years.
Yeah, nice. That's true.
And was like, he just had it in his heart, like, I'm going to do something called Topeka Insider at some point. And so it was kind of funny because he like low key was like suggesting this idea as if he didn't have all this ownership over the idea. He's like, hey, like, what do you think about the name Topeka Insider? If you don't like it, it's totally cool. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. He's like, cool, because I've owned the URL for 5 years. Like, I really want to do it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's great. So we did that. He knew Gabe, brought Gabe on. We were in the middle of remodeling the basement here in our church and kind of had this. And then when my buddy moved to his new job, we bought all of his camera gear just for the church to use for different things. So it's kind of this amazing, like the stars aligned. I mean, we had all this gear. We already wanted to build a studio in this room already for other things. And then he kind of came up with a rebrand, knew Gabe, had a lot of the resources for like online stuff and kind of a vision for kind of a next level kind of branding and things. So we relaunched almost a year ago.
Yeah, almost a year ago. I think our first episode was, this is going to be episode 18. So what's that?
Is that 9 months?
9 months ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do 2 a month and we've been doing that for a while.
And the goal is, because previously Ryan and I had done seasonal, like we'll do like, 10 episodes in a season, take a break. And it was more like we were figuring out as we went. And he's like, hey man, I want to know that we're doing this forever. No breaks. Like every 2 weeks into eternity, like
at least a year.
Yeah. I mean, just like we're not doing season 1, season 2, we're just going to go. And I was like, yeah, I would prefer that too. I think that'd be really cool. So we kind of came up with our plan, started reaching out to a ton of people, and it's been good. I mean, we haven't missed one.
There was a couple there where we were like, what are we going to do? We don't have one, and once every 2 weeks isn't a lot, but we both have full-time jobs, super busy. John's got kids. I have a dog. And
he sneaks into the Discovery Center by himself.
You won't even get that. We had the Discovery Center lady on.
Laura Burton.
Yes, we had Laura Burton on. And I have never been to the Discovery Center, nor do I really know what it was. And so I was like, is that something like...
Can you go without kids?
I can go to? Like, what is this? She goes, no. She goes, if you show up at the Discovery Center by yourself, we'll call the police. I was like, all right, never mind. I won't be there.
Then he asked if he could borrow my kids to go. I was like, no.
The key is Children's Discovery Center.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's called the Children's Discovery Center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been rocking and rolling for 9 months. We love it. It's a great chance to meet guys like you who we'd never meet. I was telling someone, I said, the best part about, and the reason why I do it is, there's a ton of people. I'd love to just sit down and grab coffee with, hear their story, hear what they're doing.
Right.
But, a guy like you, I don't know you. I wouldn't reach out to you to have coffee. That's weird. But if I say I have a podcast, it's like, oh, cool, I'll be on your podcast. So I get to have a cup of coffee with you, and it just happens to be recorded.
Have you guys seen, there are videos and memes about that where like guys, when a guy wants to get coffee, he doesn't say, hey man, we should hang out. He says, hey, yeah, we should podcast.
Yeah. There's what an SNL skit about that.
Okay,
about podcasting and therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It like fulfills the same function. Like, oh, I feel so much better. I feel so much lighter after that. And it was just podcasting. That's funny. It's funny. We when we first started, we kind of wanted to like guarantee our success a little bit on the front end. So we recorded a ton of people before we released any of them. So and then we kind of had like a sense of urgency. Like we're going to record as many as possible. Yeah. So we developed this bank of like 4 months of unreleased episodes. And then around Thanksgiving, we were like, hey, this is too much. Like it's too much time between the recording and the release. Like we don't want it to be that way. Because there were some things where like, man, I forgot we even recorded that. It was 4 months ago.
I'm re-listening to these episodes, trying to find, stuff for clips as they're getting ready to be released. And I'm like, I didn't remember that at all.
So around Thanksgiving, we're like, all right, let's just deplete the bank and not record for a while. So we depleted the whole bank, just release. And then we got to where we had like 2 left in like March. I think March was like we were about to end. Then we started scheduling, and we hadn't recorded for 4 months.
Yeah,
and so it was like,
hey, John, don't even remember you.
We were like just text, like weren't even really seeing each other in person. It was just texting, like, hey man, like is everything going? It was like I'm used to seeing you every week, and now I'm not seeing you for 4 months. And now we have 1 in the bank, just kind of in case. Something happens.
Because we almost ran out that one time. We had someone had a scheduling thing fall through, and so we couldn't release. And I was like, what are we going to do? Luckily, we have some good buddies that are business owners. Like, hey, they do something cool. Let's interview them. So it's thankful.
Yeah.
But
nice. So like your background podcasting then, you're a realtor, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
A full-time realtor. Did you ask if you have a background in podcasting?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No, but avid listeners, I assume.
Yeah, I listen to a ton of podcasts. Yeah. I'm really good at ripping off ideas and making them my own. So, this whole setup, I watched someone else's podcast that I watch regularly. I'm like, we'll just make that
shout them out?
Perfect.
Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Steffen.
Huh.
Finance guys. They did the table thing. They have the camera set up with the curtains. We're not doing the table setup anymore, but
they also haven't steamed their curtains.
Yeah, they clearly don't.
It's a vibe that we're going for.
Yeah, if you look at our curtains, you can tell that there has not been a woman here to help us throughout this process because it just looks like a bachelor pad.
It is kind of a guy aesthetic podcast room.
Yeah, absolutely.
I dig it. It
does the trick. So no real background in podcasting other than we kind of collabed on this room, getting things ready, and then Gabe's a wealth of knowledge. She spent a lot of time helping us kind of with the tech on what we need, and so there was a lot of days where it was like, Gabe, send me the link, I'll order it.
Yeah.
What do we need?
Nice.
Oh, you need this blank cord. Yeah. It's like, no idea what that is, but just send me the link, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
does Gabe have a mic over there?
I do.
He does.
Yeah,
Come on, bring him into the conversation, man. What questions you got for Gabe?
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you get involved with all this? I mean, you're the media guy behind it all, the whole production.
Of course, this is what happens when we have a journalist on the podcast.
Yeah,
he starts turning on
asking us questions.
He's trying to put me on camera.
Yeah. I wish I could.
Turn that camera around, man.
I don't know if you can see me. Let's see. Okay.
Oh yeah, we can see the screen on the back. We can see you.
Here.
So Gabe, what's your background on all this?
Sure. So I kind of started. Let me get my
get your volumes.
So
levels.
I started working with Justin here a couple of years ago. I did basically some video production for him. He was wanting some social clips, and I did that probably 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, and so I started doing real estate videos for him. So I do all his listing videos and stuff like that. Even
he makes me look pretty.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you do a good job on this because obviously, you got all the soft boxes. You're using Fujifilm.
Yep.
Here, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Is
I've
that
got a couple XT3s and an XH2S.
He did make sure to pull out the high level cameras for when the photojournalist was coming.
Absolutely.
He's like, we can't use the crappy ones.
The church cameras drive me nuts. They're a bunch of R10s and
Hey,
HDMI.
watch your
don't throw
dirty
the
mouth.
R10s under the bus.
Watch your dirty mouth.
They're like the mini HDMI and they stutter so bad. I like
But
using.
you also do stuff with like Michael Dubutan and what else? What else kind of stuff?
As far as what I do is I do a lot of like interview style content, and I've been full time since 2020.
Is that full time with the job with them freelancing?
So full time by myself.
Nice. And what's shout out your group?
Yeah,
you have a shirt on here.
Got the shirt on. Butone Media Group. There's the logo there.
Let's go.
So that's what I do. I do a lot of like different like interviews. I do real estate. I started with photography, but I really like the video side of things. And so since I graduated high school during COVID, I then transitioned. Instead of going to college for film, I just started doing film and started with weddings and that sort of thing, and kind of got to where I'm at now. So a lot of the stuff here is actually the churches that we're using, but I bring quite a bit of my stuff for some of these projects. And I usually shoot my big projects on like a Sony FX6. And so I bring out the big guns for that kind of project. But for the podcast, I like to use the Fuji gear because I love the colors. Just looks great straight out of camera. So.
No kidding.
See, Evert knows what all those words mean.
Oh, yeah.
When Gabe tells me he's got this Netflix approved FX camera, I'm like,
yes.
oh, okay.
It matters. Quality matters.
No idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't shoot everything on an iPhone.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
What ISO are you rocking right now?
Right now?
What's your? I don't know. I'm trying to think of other technical
on 640
questions.
right now.
Perfect.
That's just the
matches everything.
Yep. Base ISO for these 100 watt video lights. But
Nice.
Yes.
Well, do we want to hit him with some rapid fire?
Sure, man. We need to revamp our rapid fire questions.
Dude, we do the same ones every time.
I've
but
heard potholes. So I'll just like start going because I've heard. I know where you're talking about. I know where we're going.
This guy studied up.
Well, I mean, honestly, again, I'm not one that really like pays attention to that. I know roads are hard to maintain. There's a huge mill and overlay project going on at the Topeka Boulevard. A lot of that stuff.
Wait. So is this like, as an employee of the Capital Journal,
I'm just
you're
saying,
not allowed to have
objective.
an opinion on the pothole situation?
Hey, I mean, roads can be difficult. And again,
very political of you.
Hey, I'll just say I can just refer people to our article that we posted a couple months ago about talking to the streets department and actually like, why are potholes bad and what's going on with it. Okay. Again, like over the winter, it's because you can't have the hot mix to fill them. You have to use the cold mix, and so that's way more brittle. So that will deteriorate way faster. Obviously, I assume the biggest fix is just the mill and overlay. You just take the whole street out and put new concrete down.
Redo it. Yeah.
So I mean, potholes are always a thing, and I've lived in Denver, and I mean, it's road maintenance. It's just what it is. You know, I've learned that just get good tires and just do the service on your
get good tires and quit being a baby. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, cool. Learn how to swerve. We're
not in buggies anymore. I mean, it's pretty good. We got pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing a home project. Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot. Where are you going?
Well, it's that's pretty limiting to have just the three personally.
Okay.
I was just at over on the east side, so I actually went to Tractor Supply store because it was
okay.
Right? Breaking us out of the box.
I also want to say, I mean, you got Sutherland's, you got Tar Waters. Boy, there's just many other ones, and again, like sometimes I just have to get something small. I'm just going up to Walmart.
Right.
But
love it.
I hit all three. And again, maybe that's being an objective journalist. Say that, like, they all do.
Hey, they're not based out of Topeka. They don't have feelings about this.
Of course. No, I mean, everyone has their own, like, honestly, my wife and I, we shop around, like, when we go grocery shopping, it's like going here to here to here to here.
Okay, yeah.
So,
okay.
It's nothing super specific.
I will say I definitely prefer to avoid the big box stores as much as possible. We have right down the street Waters Hardware.
I was going to say Waters and Ace. Yeah, the small ones.
Well, I definitely, if I can get it Waters, I prefer, because then it's like, it takes an hour trip into a 10-minute trip just going down the street. But anyway.
Or a 2-hour Menards trip.
Yeah.
You get caught up in the food
you get a
aisle.
2-hour Menards trip is a 1-hour Home Depot trip is a 10-minute trip to Waters.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing about the Menards, though, real quick, is, are you doing the rebate?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I do it on. It's the reason why I got hooked on Menards, honestly, because we were doing a big home renovation. It's like, all right, I'm going to Menards because I can get the 11% rebate. And now,
does that actually make it cheaper than other places?
I don't know. It just sounds like it's the whole reason why they do it is it's like, whether it is or it isn't, it's like, oh, I want that 11% rebate. I want that.
Right.
And now they've ingrained me into their kind of ecosystem. That's just where I go because I want to go to Menards. And it started with the 11% rebate. So like on the big purchases, you're spending a couple $1,000s on flooring there, yeah, I'm going to do it. But if I'm get sidetracked and pick up some, Chex Mix or something. No, we're not doing it then. But all right.
You don't get the rebate on cereal.
You can, but favorite coffee shop in Topeka?
Coffee shops. Well, again, being over in Tecumseh side of things, like Milk and Honey is the closest.
Yeah.
To me.
Milk and Honey's great.
Place. I also do definitely prefer PTs. Again, I'll say probably mention every single coffee shop if you keep me going.
Right, yeah.
But like, I just know the history of PTs, and it's kind of a little side story that I've heard is actually my grandparents' house, the place that I raised we just recently bought. The owner of PTs, Jeff Taylor, when he was in college at K-State, also same year as my uncle who started all of this.
Wow.
He actually lived in the basement of the house that I own now.
No way.
Again, I need to clarify this with Jeff. He's over in San Diego now.
Right.
Blanking on the name of that coffee house that he
I
operates
can't remember
with
either.
PTs.
Yeah, but it's like he co-owns
exactly.
with Fred, right? The guy that's here. Yeah.
Yep. So PTs again has a huge legacy of like just single origin coffees, and I think they still do a great job.
I love PTs, and do you want to hear a funny story about PTs? Yeah. Back when they were over across from Washburn, I would go there all the time. And one day I needed lunch, and I was there working on things. I'm like, I'm going to give their grilled cheese a try. Got their grilled cheese. And if you've never had it at PT's, it has apple slices in it. The grilled cheese has apple slices in it. And when I took a bite, I was like, what is this? And I realized it was apples. And at first I was like disgusted. I'm like, why on earth would you put apples in a grilled cheese? I get it all the time there now. It is one of the best things you can get is their grilled cheese with apple slices. And at first I was like, ugh, what are we doing? Ruining grilled cheese. It's cheese and bread. Don't ruin it. But they put apple slices in it real good.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're great. Obviously
Exotic.
Circle Coffee, it's got the vibes.
Sure.
That's a big one. There's some other ones. And you guys had who was it from the one coffee roaster here? Like the small one. Joyland. Yeah. I gotta actually try him and hit him up. Actually, I was kind of pitching that as a story to our business reporter because I've never heard of that. And like you have PTs, Blue Jazz as like two of the other bigger roasters, but like that's a smaller thing. I think
so he's like in Blue Jazz's warehouse, like they have a partnership of some kind.
Gotcha.
And then I think the only storefront type thing he has right now is he's doing a cart at Evergy Plaza. On maybe
he does that like every
Thursday mornings or something.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a fun one too. So wait. So side note, you mentioned the house your grandparents grew up in. You just bought.
Yes.
That's
my
cool.
wife and I just bought this house back in last fall.
That's very cool.
It's very interesting. The way it all happened was just kind of, it's settling in the state too. My grandparents passed away, unfortunately, right after COVID. And so it's always kind of been like, what's going to happen to that place? And my wife and I were in a position that we were able to purchase it. And it's got a lot of work. It's 70s style. It's on some acreage, so like the land as far as well with it. Being a new homeowner, it's a learning curve, but it's fun. I'm definitely enjoying it. And again, the history of it, and just like knowing that like this was my house growing up, it really is very connected to me and my wife. So
that's very cool.
It's very interesting.
Wow. You're taking your wife on a date. What are you guys doing?
Well, actually, just made a reservation for Luis's place this Friday.
Okay. Let's go.
Familiar with Luis's?
I'm not. No.
I know of it. I'm blanking on what it is.
He used to own New City Cafe back in the day.
Okay.
It's across from the old downtown post office. It's a little
okay. Is this by the White Linen?
Well, it's not on the same street. It's down a block.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's literally like you really have to know where it's at because it's like underneath a stairwell. I'm blanking on the bakery that used to be Shauna Cakes. If you're familiar with where that place used to be, it's right underneath them actually. Okay. So like that's an old bank building, and they're like underneath where apparently they used to be like a speakeasy way back in the day. So it's a very private, like kind of like you just have to know about it. So we're going there for a date. So I'll tell you guys how that will be. We've gone to White Linen. It's obviously great. They do a great job. For fine dining in Topeka, Weather Room as well, AIM Strategies, all their places are great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we cook a lot of our own food though. Like honestly, we've really been getting into meal prepping and just like cooking
Let's
together.
go.
So that's where we're at.
You guys you have some land, so you guys gonna get into like homesteading?
Well, I brought you guys these gourds.
Yeah.
I actually grew these at our previous property. Yeah, so we were definitely big into gardening. Yeah,
Love it. So you grew this.
I grew these. Yeah, so
and now it's a birdhouse.
Yeah, so we
awesome.
we were living in Meriden actually last year, and I started my first garden out there. And we had this cattle panel that I made into an arch that I grew these gourds on, and they just exploded. I mean, I started them from seeds. I was just very diligent about watering, and made my own compost to put on it, and they grew huge. And like that one over there, I have some that are probably like this big now.
Wow.
And so like they all dried out finally. Right, basically last week I started sanding down some of these, taking all the mold and things off of that, and then prepping them to just make birdhouses. And so figured I'd give you guys some.
That's so awesome.
Share the other side of things that I do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What don't you do, man? I mean, this is wild.
I bought my grandpa's old 1983 GMC square body truck. So that's like my big project that I'm trying to get done by this summer, as well as get that thing going again.
Summer's like almost here.
I know.
You feel like it's happening?
I know that.
You think it's happening? Like, you're on your way?
I have the carburetor out. I just have to get into. I've kind of been going back and forth. Like, well, do I rebuild this carburetor? You know, you just buy an upgrade. I've kind of gone to that decision too, because like I don't have like very many mechanical skills. I've been learning from like just rebuilding tractors and having to have a tractor to just go, and that's just like a mower, not like a
just
real
low
tractor.
key working on tractors.
Yeah, little things like that. Riding lawnmowers, I should actually clarify.
Oh, okay.
What is something that you think Topeka's missing? If you could bring something from another city to Topeka.
Okay. Well, I mean, and again, I think it's something that I want to just keep on promoting the things that we do have, and just like seeing where the developments go from here. Because again, like there's been a lot of the talk about like, the riverfronts, what's going to happen at West Ridge Mall after Advisors Excel move in, and all that construction, how that actually is going to end up. I think that has a lot of potential. Just continuing the downtown development, just kind of trying to fill some of those vacant businesses. Again, like being kind of a outdoorsy guy and trails, just keep on going on those fronts, and supporting those that are making those changes to make everything better. So there is a lot of things I think Topeka already has that just keep on improving upon and just keep going in that direction.
Yeah.
As far as like really like specific things, I mean. I know I was thinking we had a guest on and talking about Top Golf. And I was like, well, we do have that, the Top Tracer, Top Golf Topeka.
Yeah.
That's kind of similar. It's not exactly the same, but it is a driving range with the technology. So there's
with the tracking,
exactly. So there is a lot of those things. But like, I don't know. We also we like to travel and go to like Colorado, Arkansas, and the mountains too, to also explore different things.
So we could use a mountain or two, is what you're saying.
Mountains would be cool. Land, I mean, again, we do have pretty lands.
You think Cody Foster
can
make that happen?
But mountain, we are where we are.
Yeah.
Well, final question: where can people find you? Are you on socials? Where can people get a hold of you?
My Instagram's probably where I post primarily things. And again, I'm not like the most like socially present guy out there. I post occasional things, and then like story updates on like assignments I'm at. The biggest one, obviously, cjonline.com. That's the Topeka Capital Journal, where, that is my job and what I do on a day-to-day basis. I'll be going to an assignment here in about 30 minutes. Governor's doing some things at the State House I got co-cover, and keep on going with the day. And
Love it. Evert Nelson, thanks for joining us, bro.
I really
appreciate it.
It's been nice.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.